You've probably heard the familiar advice from your parents about saving money and spending wisely. But in today's volatile world, are those lessons still enough? I used to believe that simply following the old rules would be enough to build a solid financial foundation. But reality hit me hard, and it delivered a painful truth. The old rules don't work anymore. We're living in an era where everything shifts at lightning speed. Prices are soaring, technology is evolving by the minute. And if you don't shift your mindset, if you don't adapt, you will be left behind. But here's the good news. You don't need a degree in economics to take control of your money. You just need to avoid 7 critical financial mistakes, the same ones that have quietly drained hundreds of thousands of dollars from countless lives. Not sure what those mistakes are? Keep watching this video because I'm about to share some game-changing truths that you simply cannot afford to ignore. The first mistake? Relying on willpower instead of automation. It sounds simple, yet it's the trap many people, including myself, fall into. I once tried extreme frugal hacks, using single-ply toilet paper, taking cold showers, cutting my hair at home, and I felt like I was shrinking a little more each day, while the world around me kept racing ahead. Countless advisors tell you to track every expense and then cut everything. Coffee, jeans, vacations, cut, until you're 95 before you can finally enjoy your retirement money, if you even live that long. They'll show you how skipping your daily coffee could save nearly $700 a year and grow to $10,000 in a decade. It sounds reasonable, but ask yourself, do you really have the willpower to give up that small me moment every single morning? That's the crux. Willpower is a finite resource. Every no-spend decision drains mental energy. And the more small choices you make, the faster you burn out and revert to old habits. I've lived through the cycle of determination, exhaustion, guilt, restart, and you probably have too. To break free, you need a system, not sheer willpower. Jeff Bezos didn't force himself to log every dollar. He built automated processes that freed his mental energy for bigger decisions. Warren Buffett automates his investments and lets compound interest do the rest. Elon Musk automates Tesla's production lines to save time and effort. Here's the simple fix. Automate 5 to 10% of your income into savings or investments as soon as you get paid. It might be $50 a month, $500, or even $5,000, depending on your situation. But the key is making it automatic, so you never have to think twice. Once bills, emergency funds, and long-term investments run on autopilot, you eliminate the daily willpower battle. Decide once, then let the mechanism handle the rest. Your personal finances will grow more sustainably than any extreme cutting strategy ever could. Once you've set up an automated financial system where savings and investments flow consistently each month, the next step is to avoid another major pitfall that many fall into: buying a house beyond their means. It may not sound severe, but for most of us, a home is the single largest expense we'll ever incur. Without careful calculations before signing the contract, you can easily fall into the beautiful home, suffocating life trap, struggling each month to cover mortgage payments and hidden costs that lurk behind the property's polished facade.
A fundamental rule I always follow, and recommend you do too, is that your total monthly housing costs should never exceed 28% of your family's pre-tax income. At first glance, that percentage may seem low, but total housing costs here doesn't refer only to principal and interest payments. It also includes property taxes, home insurance, regular maintenance fees, utility bills, and if you live in a condo or gated community, homeowners association fees and other service charges.
Remember, a roof replacement in 12 years, AC installation, or damp-proofing walls are not minor expenses. If you don't set aside a dedicated maintenance fund, these costs become an invisible burden that slowly depletes your budget. That's why many people live in a million-dollar home but can't spare a dime each month. I often simplify the calculation by multiplying the mortgage payment by 1.5. For example, if you pay $1,000 per month, your real cost can be as high as $1,500. This number shocks many because they assume just paying the loan is enough. Not everyone escapes these phantom costs. MC Hammer, a hugely successful rapper in the 90s, earned tens of millions, yet went bankrupt due to excessive luxury spending and overwhelming debt. By contrast, Warren Buffett lives modestly. He still resides in the house he bought in 1958 for roughly $31,000. The lesson is crystal clear. Don't let your home turn you into a hostage of an unsustainable lifestyle. Before buying, look at the full picture. Calculate 28% of your income. Multiply your mortgage payment by 1.5 to account for hidden costs. Establish a maintenance fund and define your long-term vision. Buying a home isn't wrong, but buying wisely is what leads you to true financial freedom. I can't shake the memory of those sleepless nights flipping through my mortgage amortization schedule under the flickering glow of my desk lamp. Month after month, the lion's share of my payment vanished into interest instead of principal, making me feel trapped in an endless debt cycle rather than moving toward financial peace. That's when it hit me. High interest rates can hold you hostage to the bank for decades, paying pure interest. At today's 7 to 8% rates, it often takes over 20 years before you pay more principal than interest. Consider a couple earning $180,000 annually, adhering to the 28% housing cost rule, keeping total expenses under $4,200 per month. To capture the true burden, I multiply their principal payment by 1.5 to account for phantom costs like property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, and routine maintenance. Thus, a $2,800 principal payment actually costs $4,200. With a fixed 30-year loan at 7.5% and a 20% down payment, they should cap their home price at around $500,000. But if they fall for a $600,000 property, their principal jumps to $3,360, and hidden fees add $680, totaling $4,400, or 34% of their income instead of 28%. That extra $840 per month might not faze them emotionally, but invested at even a modest 7% annual return over 30 years, and it grows into over $1 million. This is the opportunity cost of quietly eroding your future wealth. Mark Cuban famously said, "The best investment you can make is to avoid dumb purchases." Overspending on a home isn't a badge of success. It's a financially unsound decision. With high rates, amortization front-loads interest, meaning your principal suffers far longer than you'd expect. Don't let emotion or social pressure guide you.
Master the numbers instead. Before signing any contract, ask yourself, is the loan under 28% times 1.5 of my income? What does the amortization schedule reveal about interest versus principal in the first years? Have I set up a maintenance fund and compared rent versus buy? Download our quick calculator template here to vet your mortgage choice, because a smart decision today secures your financial freedom for life. I'll never forget those sleepless nights hunched over my mortgage amortization schedule, watching most of my payment vanish into interest instead of principal. That's when it struck me. High interest rates can trap you in a cycle of paying interest for decades, stretching out your path to financial freedom far longer than you'd expect. Picture Sally investing $200 every month, starting at age 20 for just 10 years, and letting compound growth run until retirement, while Noah waits until 45 to invest $200 monthly for 20 years. At a 7% annual return, Sally ends up with over $369,000 by retirement, whereas Noah only accumulates around $102,000, a $267,000 gap purely due to time. If they both bump contributions to $800, that difference exceeds $1 million. This is the power of time and compounding. Warren Buffett reminds us, time is the friend of the wonderful company, the enemy of the mediocre. And Mark Cuban warns, the best investment you can make is to avoid dumb purchases. Don't delay any longer, because every month you hesitate is a month you lose out on building massive wealth. Start today by automating 5 to 10% of your paycheck into an investment account. Use a compound interest calculator to model scenarios: $50, $200, or $500 per month at 7% return until age 65. Aim to allocate at least 5 to 10% of your after-tax income and increase it as your earnings grow. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank says, success is not built on one explosive coup, but on small decisions repeated with discipline. Every automated transfer you set up is like watering your financial sapling, and over time, it will grow into a mighty forest of wealth. I still recall the shock of opening my investment statement and seeing nearly $25,000 drained in advisory fees, simply because of a 1% AUM charge. At first, I brushed it off as inconsequential, but over a 45-year investment horizon, that tiny percentage cost me $500,000 in potential wealth. Assets under management fees mean you pay your advisor a percentage of the total assets they manage for you. It sounds reasonable, but it really isn't. Picture investing $600 per month for 45 years at an average 7% annual return. Without AUM fees, you'd accumulate over $2.1 million. Yet with a 1% annual fee, your balance shrinks to roughly $1.6 million. That $500,000 gap isn't trivial. It could buy you a home or kickstart a small business.
The antidote I discovered after years of trial and error is simplification. I carry only 2 credit cards, one for grocery cash back and one for travel rewards. No clutter of multiple cards. I maintain a single brokerage account and an emergency savings fund, eliminating the temptation to open numerous accounts. When it comes to investing, I stick to broad index funds, global equities, government bonds. because they're accessible to everyone and don't require reading dozens of pages of financial reports. Above all, what matters is consistency. Every month, I automate investments on payday without hesitation or disruption. Warren Buffett, one of history's greatest investors, didn't chase convoluted strategies or detours around the sun to squeeze extra points. He invests in businesses he understands, holds them for the long term, and lets time do the rest. His approach embodies the principle of 85% is good enough. You don't need perfect information to begin. You just need to be sufficiently prepared to take action. Waiting for absolute perfection guarantees you'll never start. So, if you find yourself at the starting line of your financial journey, do these 3 simple things today. First, stop researching inconsequential details and choose no more than 2 payment or investment tools. Second, set up an automated transfer of a fixed percentage of your income each month into savings or investments. Third, keep a brief daily journal, no more than 100 words, tracking your progress to ensure you remain consistent. Once you reach that good enough 85% level, don't get stuck behind your spreadsheets. Stand up, step outside, and live the life you truly desire. Because consistent action is what drives the greatest outcomes. Now that you've fine-tuned every facet of your personal finances, from automating savings and maintaining disciplined investments to streamlining expenses, a double-edged trap still lurks to derail your future: credit card debt. Used wisely, credit cards are a remarkable tool, delivering cash back, travel rewards, purchase protection, and extended warranties, benefits cash simply can't match. Unfortunately, if you fail to pay your balance in full each billing cycle, you step into a financial quicksand. What begins as a few $100s in debt can explode exponentially under the weight of 20–30% annual interest rates, much like a snowball rolling downhill. I've spoken with countless young couples brimming with ambition who never imagined that missing a payment due to a sudden job loss, car repair, or medical bill would spiral into endless months of battling thick stacks of statements. In the first quarter of 2024, the average U.S. household carried about $8,800 in credit card debt. And if you only make the minimum payment, you could be servicing that debt for years, even decades, with the lion's share allocated to interest rather than principal reduction. Even more alarming is the opportunity cost. The same dollars you lose to interest could be invested at a modest 7% annual return, potentially growing into a substantial nest egg over 10, 20, or 30 years. Yet, you forfeit that growth to the very trap you set. Take Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, who launched her company with $5,000 in savings and steadfastly avoided bad debt, proving it's entirely possible to build a thriving business and lasting wealth without revolving credit. The non-negotiable solution is clear. Pay your credit card balance in full at the end of every cycle. If you're not sure you can, stop swiping immediately. Automate full payments, lower or close unnecessary credit lines, and build an emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months of living expenses to avoid turning to credit in a crisis. Don't let credit card debt control you. Make your cards tools that serve your goals, not crutches that undermine them. Start today, because each month you delay is another month of lost financial freedom. Here's a curious and costly mistake I see too often.
People running up credit card debt just to earn rewards. I've talked to cardholders drowning in thousands of dollars of debt, yet they proudly proclaim, "I'm spending to rack up points." Believe it or not, they're paying 28% annual interest on that debt for the privilege of earning a few dozen or few hundred points, often worth less than a single dollar. A $100 purchase can quickly turn into a $150 balance, all for rewards that hardly cover the finance charges rolling in.
Instead of rationalizing that you'll earn points then pay off fast, face the facts. If you carry a $10,000 card balance and only make minimum payments, you could end up paying nearly double the principal and interest over several years. Commit just an extra $100 per month toward the balance and watch that debt shrink and interest expense plummet. If you need extra cash, consider a side hustle, online tutoring, freelance work, or selling crafts. Make debt repayment your #1 financial priority. Every dollar of interest you avoid is a dollar you can invest in your future. Once credit card debt is under control, another financial landmine emerges: overspending on cars. New parents often jump on SUVs and heavy-duty trucks under the pretense that we need 7 seats for grandma's visits. A friend spent $78,000 on a pickup to move furniture, yet used its hauling capacity twice in 2 years. That vehicle bled them thousands annually through loan payments, high insurance premiums, registration fees, fuel, and maintenance. Never base a car purchase solely on the monthly payment. A $350 payment may sound reasonable until you add $400 for insurance, $200 for gas, and $50 for maintenance, totaling over $1,000 per month. Imagine investing that $1,000 instead at a modest 7% annual return. Over 35 years, you'd amass more than $1.2 million. Your shiny pickup won't come close to delivering those returns. Rather than chase the latest models and tech bells, adopt a conscious spending rule. After housing, food, credit card bills, and other fixed expenses, allocate no more than 10 to 15% of your income to transportation. Lower your financing amount, keep your car until it's paid off, and replace only when truly necessary. The moment your auto loan is gone, that car becomes a ticket to financial freedom. Those loan payment dollars free up for investing or enriching your life. Many grumble that they have no money left to save or invest, but they overlook the real wealth drain: oversized credit card purchases and extravagant vehicles. Tackle those 2 categories first. Pay off your cards, downsize your auto spending, and redirect the freed-up cash into investments. When you master these areas, you eliminate 2 of the biggest foes of financial independence. That's how you turn every dollar into leverage for your future, rather than allowing it to become another link in the chain of debt. Wrapping up this journey, I hope you've drawn a valuable lesson. Financial freedom comes from making the right choices every day. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If you're facing financial challenges or have topics you'd like to explore further, please share them in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming content. Remember, every small step counts, and I'm here to support you. See you in the next video.